I've always been a seeker, going to school, learning more, figuring I became a parent. And what did I do? I began to read everything I could find. I became a parent educator and got my master's in social work so that I could help other parents as I tried to be the best parent I could be. I've always been seeking to improve my life and make a difference in the world because I think that's why we're here. We're here to make a difference in the world. And we're here to make ourselves the best selves we can be. So we learn from other people. The problem in the self-help world is, who are you learning from? Is this a person that's credible, truly knowledgeable, or just really charismatic and easily sways you to believe that they have all the answers? So as Glenn said, we began to do lots of searching and trying to figure out what was going on in this industry, and we're kind of horrified at how much sketchy stuff was going on. I had heard James Ray speak, and I didn't completely agree with his approach or everything that he said, but I felt he had worthwhile things to direct people in. So my husband and I never thought that what Kirby was doing was dangerous, and couldn't believe that this could happen. And we looked at each other and said, if this could happen to Kirby, who was actually, she was a risk taker and an adventurer, but I'm telling you, she had more safety equipment in her house in Cabo, where she lived, than anyone else I know. So she wasn't unaware of danger. So if this could happen to her, this could happen to anybody. So Seek Safely was born. And I have to say that it's been a struggle over these last almost 17 years, trying to have our mission really make the difference that I had hoped it would make. Our mission was to educate people about the self-help industry, to see if we could do something to help seekers to make their journey as safe as possible and efficacious for them, and at the same time, do something to impact the industry to make it more ethical and safe. And everyone we spoke to in the beginning just shook their head and said, this is a very heavy lift. And I learned that was true. It's a very heavy lift. But we've persisted. And then we met Anne Peterson, who said, this should be a movement. And I guess that's what I always wanted it to become. My kind of end game, so to speak, was to write a book about this experience, which Jean and I have done, called This Sweet Life, How We Lived After Kirby Died. It was published in 2020, and the audio came out in, what, Jean, 22?
Yeah, something like that.
It was a really tough thing to do, but I felt we needed to tell our story. And I also wanted to see some legislation passed, which for the last, since it's almost 10 years now, we've been working, with people in New York State to try to pass legislation, because we were told that if we ever wanted anything passed on a national level, we had to start in New York. So we have a bill, and it has gone through the Senate. It still has to go through the Assembly before it comes to the whole legislature to be passed. So we feel like we're on our way to get something accomplished in that realm. And I know we're going to talk a little bit more about that later on in the day. But I also want to thank all of you for being here, because to me, not only do I want people's journeys to be safe, I want this industry to take a look at itself, to let that become the best it can be. And at the same time, I want everyone to know my amazing daughter. And that's a big part of why Jean and I wrote the book, because we want Kirby's spirit to live on in the world. It was pretty big, and she would have made a big impact if she was here physically. So I think she's making an impact just being here spiritually, and that's really important to me.